What's up, guys? What is up? Sorry for being late. We have had some technical issues, but welcome back to Deck Talk Podcast, and we have John Pate, the original king of the Glades, on. And it is going to be one heck of an episode. But again, sorry we are late, but we're having to figure it out with trying to get him on here. But we're just going to do it over the phone, and we're going to pop his picture up so you'll hear the audio. But guys, we want to do some real quick business. This episode is brought to you by Bruiser Baits, Firefly Marines, YOLO Tech, Spear Point Hooks, Proline Baits, Joe Burns Rods, and Cornfield Fishing Gear. But guys, if you don't know, I am Colin Burnett.
Woo, Pappy J, baby.
All right, guys, I know that that y'all have been looking forward to this episode as much as what we have. And we have the original king of the Glades, John Pate. How are you doing, brother?
And Pappy, how are you guys doing?
All right, we're doing fine.
So
that's great.
And we sorry for the technical issues, and we're going to figure this sucker out, and we're going to have to get it going. But other than that, John, so how's life been treating you?
It's been pretty good, ups and downs with physical issues, but everything's all right. It's getting back from the Icast back then when we just got home was, very tiring to be on the floor for 3 days like that.
Oh, yeah, that's...
But I watched you guys run around with your heads cut off.
Yeah, we did.
You were doing a lot of work on that floor. We were discussing, if you remember, about finding some of the most interesting things on the Icast floor.
Yeah.
That we were amazed at. And, Spike had came out with the special sauce there to light up your jigs.
Man,
and
it does. That sonic coat is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw them, how it works, what they were doing with it. And I had noticed that Missile Baits came out with a new jig that's called the Big Eye.
Yeah.
And it's a little bigger, but it's got a swivel on it that's been welded, so you have a ring on it now, and it'll make it wobble.
Yeah, that I really like that because, which me and you were talking about it there, that with it being welded, that's not giving you that access point to have that weak link there. So you're not going to have to worry about that little O-ring breaking off.
No, I thought that was a pretty good idea. I used to put regular clip rings on it,
Right.
But this is a better idea to have it welded the way it's closed. Now it's permanent.
Yep. And what is your opinion, John? Because, we were walking around that floor and we seen so many companies come out with that fuzzy dice. What is your opinion on that fuzzy dice?
I've always said when it comes to largemouth bass or them smallmouths, they'll eat anything. They don't care what it looks like. When they want it, they're going to eat it.
Yeah.
But it seems to be a good idea that they come up with. Everybody seems to be going to it. So one guy calls it the fuzzy ball, another guy calls it the fuzzy dice, and there you got it. But it seems like it's working for those forward-face sonar men.
Yeah,
them guys are using it.
It is, and it makes me wonder, because there's been so many fads of baits coming and going, which Pappy and I were talking about this on the truck here a couple weeks ago about is it going to be something that's going to stick around like the chatterbait when the chatterbait came out, or is it going to be like that? Oh shoot, I can't remember what that name of that bait is. It came out back in the early '90s and then it kind of went away. But is it going? Do you think that it's going to stick around? To me, it seems like somebody just had a chunk of plastic, and they're like, let's just see what we can do. And I guarantee you, John, they were playing around, and it came out. And they're like, well, let's just put some skirt material through this thing.
Yes, sir. But that's how inventions are made. Sometimes they're made through errors. It just falls into place.
Yeah.
What I'm looking at possibly down the road a ways is a lot of these young kids are so good on this new, FFS that it's they know how to operate these things better.
Yeah.
And with those fuzzy dice and the square or whatever they're going to make next out of the fuzzy stuff is always going to be able to work, but it's going to be, are the fish going to eat it that day? It's just like any lure we use today. You can use something over and over and over again. They get used to it. After a while, they're not hitting it as good as it used to do, but it'll still work. It's going to be up to the person that's using it if they're going to still use it, and what guys are going to be putting it on tour anymore.
Yeah.
But it's about like anything you buy and use through years and years and years of certain things, and somebody comes out with something better, and it falls to the roadside.
Yeah.
But look at the industry today and all the big worms that are out there. I mean, never did I ever think in my life that I would see such 16-inch worms, 18-inch worms, 20-inch worms again, and they're very popular. And Bruiser makes the good one, out of the big nasty, and you got DeLong, and you got all these other guys, and Bruiser's also come out with a 16-inch worm of their own now.
Well, they got a 19-inch snake now.
That's it, 19-inch. I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
But we'll see. That'll work. People didn't believe me when I used to use 20-inch long worms, but a bass is a bass, and whenever eating them big worms like that, they're eating eels coming out of the mud when the current's moving.
Yeah.
But my partner J.P. McKay, at one point, he had a company out of, I think it was Texas or California, somewhere up there, but it was called Competition or something like that.
Right.
But it was a big 16-inch worm too, Competitor. I think that's what it was called, Competitor worms or something like that. But he had a whole bunch of them, and they were back in the middle 80s, late 80s when he had them. And so there was companies out there that were making big worms, but there's just a lot of people weren't using them because they were very skeptical of how big the bait was. I used to have men laugh at me and say, "There's no way you're catching fish with those big worms like that."
Yeah, but because I really didn't, like, the biggest worm that I would throw maybe 10, 12 inches here until I started 4 or 5 years ago, when me and you started talking and stuff like that, and and then I got some of those 14.5-inch the big nasty from Bruiser, and and they have been killer baits. I mean, Carolina rigging, or even just weightless and bringing it through the grass. I mean, even up here, I'm catching fish, and it's kind of crazy to see. I have caught smaller fish than what my bait was, longer than what the fish has been on it.
Yeah, they're cannibals. They'll eat anything. I've caught on 16-inch worms. I've caught 10-inch fish. It's kind of hard to believe that they would try to suck down a 16-inch worm on a 10-inch fish, but they'll try it.
Yeah.
That shows me how their genetics are. They feed when they want to feed, and they'll eat what they want to eat.
Yeah.
And being fishermen, we as we say, we go hunting. We practice with what we got. We use what we got, and when we discover what they're hitting, we usually run with it.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And which you have been fortunate enough to fish all over the United States. I mean, all over Florida. I mean, but you've been able to fish in so many different fisheries. What has been your biggest thing that you've been able to take out of? Because a lot of people from Florida, if they come to, let's say, even to the TVA or to some highland reservoirs, they kind of struggle a little bit because it is different water than what Florida is. Why were you able to make that big adjustment going and traveling and fishing tournaments How were you able to make that adjustment and pick that out?
Well, I got fortunate enough sometimes to go up and fish these areas like Clark's Hill, Santee Cooper, Lake
Right.
Seminole, and a couple of other places, But what I learned was when you're from South Florida and you fish a lot of shallow waters, you come out of your element.
Yeah.
That's when you have to start listening to your locals, learning what you can, figuring out what you got to find. And if they're fishing 50 feet of water, it's going to be tough on us local boys from South Florida. We're not used to that deep structure, You got to find ledges and, like for instance, JP and I were fishing Lake Seminole one time, and we made an HT3 championship we were doing. And we had things lined up pretty good when we went up the Apalachicola River.
Right.
Well, that day we found plenty of good fish, but the day of the tournament, we tried to go back, and we had things tagged. Well, we drove for 30 miles, couldn't find our tags. And then the further we got, I just happened to look up and see a marina sign. And it dawned on me, holy crud, we're 14 feet below what we were fishing the day before.
Golly.
Yeah, the water dropped. I mean, it dropped so bad, we didn't know what to do. And we went to fishing. We caught a limit, but on the way back, as usual, we didn't make the lock in time, and the barge got in there, and we were DQ'd.
Man. Yeah, because them barges take priority.
Yes, sir, they sure do. I learned my lesson. When you get on that big level like that and travel around, it takes a lot of time to learn the bodies of water you're fishing on. And like I've said to many guys, a lot of our guys like Brandon McMillan and a couple other men up here and a few guys, they've been successful some different places.
Yeah.
Chris and Bobby Lane coming out of Florida has been successful different places, but it takes them time to get it together.
Yeah.
And learn from other guys around them. And I've always said to many of the kids around me, a lot of us old people, you cannot download us like a computer. You have to ask questions.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between my time in fishing and today's time with the kids, because they can punch up the internet. They can find things anywhere.
Well, and they want it now, and instead of being able to just open their ears and talk to guys like you, they want it now, and they want to be able to see it visually as well. And that's why like YouTube and stuff like that has been so big. But it's a good thing, but it's also been a bad thing because they're learning what's like how to catch fish right now, but there's not too many people that's out there showing like what the old timers used to do. Like how we learned was I talked to my grandfather, or I read the Bassmaster magazine and stuff like that, or watch Bill Dance or Shaw Grisby or Roland and Jimmy, and now they
on VCR tapes.
yeah. So
I had 250 VCR tapes of every guy out there.
That's
and
crazy.
It was fun to sit back and watch them. When there was nothing I'm doing, watching videos. And I really appreciate those men in my life, because if it wasn't for them keeping me interested in fishing, I don't know what I would have done later on.
Right.
But it got me in, and I hate to say this about our fishing industry. It's worse than drugs, because once you become addicted, God bless, you're going to spend some money. It's an expensive sport.
Yeah.
But you got to be willing to give in order to get.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of trial and error. And it's just like, for instance, look at young Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Busse's. The young man is learning from a lot of pros. He's getting intel verbally from these older fellas. And for crying out loud, you couldn't have better coaches around you. I mean, you got Bill, you got Roland, you got Jimmy, you got Jerry, you got all the guys around this boy. And, look at Vegas.
Man.
Mike Iaconelli's kid, he's got the same advantage. These young men, look at Alton Jones Jr. Yeah. These boys got families, and they're learning because they're wanting to learn.
Well, and they're grasping. Well, like at Icast, or even when Ike was on, when he was on, he was telling us that Vegas is a whole lot better angler than what he is. I mean, and I was like, when you was his age, he says, no, right now. And he's like, right now. And
that is true because quite a couple of years back, before I started to retire from health issues, I had a couple of teenagers get on my boat. One kid was 12 years old, the other one was 13. To my surprise, they were skipping backwards underneath tree limbs, underhanded. I've never seen kids do that before.
Yeah.
So I told them, you got the boat, guys. I just want to watch.
Yeah.
I watched them two kids destroy the Everglades in no time. I mean, they were just skipping anything, underhanded with a bait caster, backhanded with a bait caster. I mean, they were doing it with ease, and me, I'm backlashing.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is like, Bassmaster had that national juniors national here this past week, and I mean, and them kids.
Wasn't that at Clark's Hill?
I'm telling you, it was at Clark's Hill, and them kids. I mean, they went out there, and it was so hot that it was a 5-fish tournament. They dropped it down to 3 because they were wanting to make sure that the fish care was that they didn't want to have too many fish in the live wells to possibly maybe kill or hinder or harm any fish. So they dropped it down to 3. And then they changed it. I think it was supposed to be a 3-day, I think. And then they changed it to a 2 because of the temperature. And the kids that won, I think, were actually from Tennessee somewhere. And they had, in 2 days, for 6 total fish, they had over 20 pounds. It was almost like 21 pounds or something like that. But, they were phenomenal. Vegas and his partner, they kind of struggled that first day, but they turned it on. I think they had the second biggest bag or the first biggest bag in the tournament, day 2. And so, but they done pretty good.
Well,
it's amazing what they can do.
We're actually looking at the kids of the future. I mean, you got to look at Hunter. He's only 12, 13 years old.
Yeah,
what is Vegas? 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
And other kids are out there on the boat with another gentleman doing high school stuff, or what they've got going on. And it's interesting to watch because these kids are paying attention. I mean, when I first started fishing in the Everglades, I was told to sit in the back of the boat, keep my mouth shut. And when I want a sandwich, give it to me. If I want my beanie weenies, my sardines and crackers, and I wasn't allowed to fish. I was supposed to sit there and watch. And that's what I had to do for about 3 years before they decided to allow me to start fishing, with these men. And I was very lucky that I was accepted. And a lot of these old guys down here are very crucial about keeping to themselves.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky right now. You've got a lot of the guys out there fishing some of the tournaments. You got the King of the Glades series. You got Bass Busters up there. You got Roland Martins. And there's a few tournaments that are still good tournament trails out there to fish.
Yeah.
And that's where you learn from, is when you get out there making mistakes on the water as a tournament angler from when you're just out pre-fishing. I mean, a lot of times people I caught a big fish on Wednesday. It was 9 pounds, but that's not Saturday or Sunday.
No.
Sometimes you get really skunked. I mean, there's days that I've had my partner and I've been on monster fish, go back to the areas, fish for 5 miles, can't find them. Yeah. Don't know where they went. Have to start all over, come in with a small bag just to get your points. Yeah. And the most valuable lesson I learned was never throw fish back when you're fishing for points. It'll cost you. Missed a few classics by a pound, a half a pound.
Yeah.
Well, you just would have turned in at 1 14-inch fish. You might have made it.
Yeah.
So turn them all in. Don't throw them out.
And my grandfather, my dad's dad, he used to tell me, because when I was growing up, I played baseball and I golfed as well. And but when it come down to like playing sports and stuff, would go every Saturday and eat breakfast and stuff with them. And I would tell them like how practice and stuff went. And then he's like, well, how'd the game go? And I was like, well, it kind of, and I'd tell him, he says, practice don't mean anything. What matters is what you do when the lights turn on. So,
That's true. It is true. It's just like a lot of guys we meet that we know today in sports and in fishing and stuff we see. Different states. A lot of guys, we don't have jet skis, snow sleds. These guys got them all up north, those snow machines. And I've never been on one of those things. A lot of these guys know how to do them. When some of the guys get down here, they're lost just as much as we're lost on some of the other adventures that these guys take.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing to find out is it can be done.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I mean, all my life I've watched these men come in and don't win, fish for years, and all of a sudden, there they are. They start winning. Might be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and all of a sudden they start winning because they figured it out. Whoever figures this stuff out is going to be the guys you got to chase.
Yeah. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that. But I also want to talk a little bit, though, about the Everglades. And
took my question from me.
Oh, well, go ahead, Pappy. I'll let you.
No. John, I just want to know, tell us a little bit about the Everglades, fishing in the Everglades for someone that's never really fished the Everglades. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the Everglades, but from my understanding, I mean, and I know if I went out there, I'd probably get lost. But tell us a little about the fishing in the Everglades.
Well, being a young boy since I was little, I was always taken out there and always taking John boats out to a place called Max Fish Camp. That's back out off Miami Canal area. And then you had the world famous Everglades Holiday Park, and right up the street you had Sawgrass Fish Camp. Now, in the old days, I hate to say this to people, but in the old days, we could go out and average 3 to 5 pounders all day. And in and out. Then you can catch 6 pounders, 7 pounders, and you could pretty much guarantee each time you went out, you were going to get a big fish, or 2 or 3. I mean, I'm a 69-year-old guy coming, and I've got 3 fish on the wall. They're 13 3/4, and my biggest fish I've had was 14 pounds 2 ounces.
Mm.
But I caught a lot of 9s and 10s and different things in the old days down here in the Everglades because they were there, and we didn't have what we call sheet flow. Now we have continuous sheet flow, continuous water movement, and the fish down here don't live in rivers down here. So the water's constantly moving, mucking up the mud. That's why the eels move, and you start using big worms a lot of times. But the Glades is a fantastic place. It is what we call the river of grass. And to see it being the way it's being done, all these new berms and these new cuts they're making and new channel places, and they're digging pits out in the Everglades, and things are changing with time. Just like anything, you can't stop progress wherever you're at.
Right.
So some of this is affecting the Florida Everglades, which is the world's national treasure. It's like the Brazilian rainforest and all this other stuff that we're losing. It has to be a thing. And it's just like when they invented catch and release. I saw pictures of my father with Grandfather Tiger and Chief Billy and all the old Indians when he was a younger man, and they had 15 and 16 pounders on the darn wood.
Yeah.
Not just a couple, a lot.
No, they had like 10, 15 of them on a board.
Yes, sir. And I told my dad, I said, it's your fault I'm not catching these kind of fish anymore. And his words were, well, we didn't know we were depleting the fishery at the time.
No.
Now, does the I guess the channels or the grass, it moves, right?
Yes, sir. So does Lake Okeechobee. A lot of people forget that a lot of this stuff comes all the way up from Toho to Kissimmee, down the Kissimmee River to Lake Okeechobee, which goes out east to west to the oceans. The rest of the sheet flow comes down south to West Palm Beach. It channels off to different locations and all the way down to the national park in the Everglades. But the thing that I've learned was finding out how these fish move. And years ago, I don't know if you guys remember, but we used to have a tagging system that we had our own tags with our phone numbers on it and our serial numbers, which I used to keep a log. And I would tag bass.
Right.
And this gentleman called me one day and said he caught one of my fish. I looked at the number and I said, I caught that on Alligator Alley. I said, so where did you catch the fish at? This gentleman tells me down on Tamiami Airport, which is 25 miles away, 30 miles away.
And how long did that take?
Well, I tagged the fish 3 months ago when he called me and told me he caught that fish. So I was looking at the fact of saying to myself, wow, that fish traveled the current, went through these locks, moved down another canal, and turned down the Chrome Avenue Canal, which goes all the way south down towards Tyndall and the rest of the ways and dumps in. I thought it was very amazing that I realized these fish will move.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And current. Now, the state of Florida, the biologists had tagged some fish with electronic beepers on them.
To track them.
Right, they could track them. They let 4 of them go at Sawgrass. One ended up in Holiday Park, and one ended up way, way out north of the flats towards Loxahatchee backside, and the other 2 stayed in Sawgrass area, not more than within 2 miles of each other.
That's crazy.
I mean, I think that's pretty interesting, that people think fish will stay in one spot. But, if they're a resident fish and they don't travel, then that's a fish that stays in its locations. But a lot of these fish, I've realized, move a lot. Lake Okeechobee, you're on them one day, and they're gone. Where do they go?
That's interesting you say that, because I was watching a video, matter of fact, just the other day about this biologist. He was talking about how fish do move. They'll travel. It's kind of like deer. They travel. They have a home spot, and they have summer spots, winter spots, and he was kind of relating, or that's what he was saying about bass, is that they'll move. I guess there's really no boundary for them, but they kind of always wind up back home. But, they have their certain spots, but they can move out, like you're saying, 20, 25, 30 miles.
And that, to me, that's crazy. And to go through a lock.
Yeah, I mean, but it's interesting that, what we thought we knew about fish or just, animals in general is completely opposite. Just all the data out there and everything that's been ran, and it's
but forward facing sonar has helped learn. That's one good thing that I can say about forward facing sonar. We've been able to learn so much about fish habits, and what we thought fish were doing has been totally different than what.
Well, that's what he was saying too. He was saying like the bass, because there was a couple of bass that he was tracking, and he said that they moved with the 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sure, they do. They follow the bait fish is what they do.
Yeah, and even if the water fluctuates up and down or whatever, he said, but with the 4 seasons, those fish moved in different spots.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. It's like, dang, man, and it might not have been far away, or then again, it could have been 10 miles away,
Right.
But they moved with the seasons. It's very interesting, man. That stuff right there, I love. That's the kind of stuff I like to, just learn more about, because the more you know about that, the more you're going to learn about them, and then that's obviously going to make you better in the end.
Right. Now,
it's just like this. When I was talking to Evan Evers about it a little bit, briefly, he said, it opened my eyes to realize what we thought the bass would always hover in the shallows,
right,
and off a ledge. He said, no, you'd figure that you'd go out to the center of a lake that's, 35, 40 feet deep, and they're all out in the middle of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there are different kind of fish that lives out in the middle, and you got different kind of fish that live in the shallows. But they do contrast back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as you've seen, the guys will be in the shallows, and then they'll get on the major league fishing events where the guy will say, well, I just caught one in 22 feet of water. And the other guy says, well, I'm fishing 7 feet of water, and I haven't caught anything.
Yeah.
And he'll move his boat back out to deeper water, and all of a sudden, wow, he's catching fish at 20, 25 feet. And they're learning now from the electronics themselves. And that's why I say it's going to be hard to beat these young boys.
Yeah, because they're really picking it up so well.
Well, to me, it's like they're playing Nintendo.
Yeah.
I hate to say it that way, but that's the truth.
Now, do kind of not to get off of that subject, but I just had a question. Was talking about Okeechobee and stuff like that. Um, we do because like up here, especially like fishing the TVA lakes and stuff. It's all current driven.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to find current. That's if we can find good current, we're going to catch some good fish. Now, I know down in Florida, you really don't have too much current driven bodies of water, but like let's say on Okeechobee, but if you have like a runoff that comes down from a creek or whatever, does the fish tend to conjugate around that little runoff when water is coming through there?
Well, yes, sir. There's a thing that I've done for a couple of years in and out is that you can punch up on your apps for
Right.
your FWC for water management, and you can log into them, and you can literally find out which gates are going to be open during
Right.
certain times of day or certain times of month when they're around. And there's times that other men that I've drawn on Lake Okeechobee as a non-boater in the past that says, I'm going to the north end, we're going to go fish this area where the water's moving.
Right.
And I started learning that these guys were really up on what they do. They get on their computers, they look at the changing of the mappings of the contour of the lakes. They know what the weather's going to be doing to them, the temperatures of the water. And the men that play the game the best are the ones who study the most.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm learning as an old guy today. I wish I had a chance to start all over again. I'd be playing this game a little bit different. But, I'm a limited guy. I've only had a few partners that fish with me religiously, and JP's been my partner for 35 years. And I really don't put anybody else in the boat, a lot of times because you don't want everybody to learn what's going on. But after all the years, it took a lot of guys time to find out what was really going in them Everglades. And believe me, these men in these Everglades are hammers.
Yeah.
They know what to do. My partner can fish. You got a lot of guys.
I've seen
that can fish like crazy. And you got all the guides down here, which is really cool. That the fact that these men, and like my partner and Shane Purcells and all these other fellas and Thaddeus Reagan and Neil Stark and all these other guides, and JP fishes religiously guiding every day with the Bass Whisperers, basswhisperer.com. And these men are targeting snakeheads, clown knife fish, peacocks, Oscars, tilapia, big catfish in different areas. There's so much to get along, and you got another boy named Andrew and them guys that are working up there in Lake Ida and Osborne, and these kids are tuned in on them snakeheads. The clown knife fish, and that's an exotic fish.
Yeah.
And they're starting to catch a lot of them at Lake Okeechobee, which a lot of guys are surprised. But
yeah, I was surprised when I heard about that. Well, you may have been the one that told me that at Icast.
Yeah.
Yes, and because I was surprised that they came up that far, and I'm surprised that they came up that far, and really the peacocks really have not. Well,
there's been a few guys rumored up that said they've caught a couple of peacocks in the shallows at Lake Okeechobee, and a lot of them are being caught now at Loxahatchee.
Yeah.
So Loxahatchee's right down the street from Lake Okeechobee. When these waters are moving, these fish can move in and out of these places in time. It's just something that's there, and I'm thankful that a lot of the guys I know that are guiding are able to make a living off of it, and they're all legitimate licensed guides, a lot of them. And they're learning how to put customers on fish quite regularly now because you've got a variety of fish to keep yourself active. And the biggest question that happens to me a lot is, can you guarantee fish? My answer is no.
No.
I'm not God. I'm not Jesus. I'm not Mother Nature. We're darn good at what we do, but I can't control what Mother Nature's going to give us. And that's the hardest question for a guide when he has a customer asking that type of information. But that's just how the business is with these men down here and any place else you guide in the United States or any other country.
Yeah.
There is no guarantee in fishing. I have to say that to people, and I'm sorry to say that, but that is true. I mean, you look at yourselves, gentlemen. Where have you gone fishing where you've skunked out for days, weeks?
Chickamauga.
You didn't catch anything good.
Chickamauga.
But
too many
the
times.
thing down here is a lot of these men that fish, that guide and tournament fish, they're good at what they do.
Yeah.
And there is no doubt about it. And there's a lot of times I've had people call me on my phone and ask advice about certain people that they're guiding with, and I'll tell them the truth.
Yeah.
He's darn good. He knows what he's doing. But again, they can't guarantee you fish.
Yeah. I got
we're very lucky here. I mean, we've got a fishery here that's not like any other fishery in the world.
Yeah. I got the traveling fisherman is a good buddy, which we've had him on the podcast, and we're going to be scheduling him he's in Alaska right now, John. His wife is a traveling nurse, and so
he's fly fishing.
And he messaged me, and I totally forgot to message him back. He asked if I wanted some fresh salmon that he caught, but
aren't you lucky?
But he said that that's so much fun fishing in the Glades, and he said I've caught peas in Sarasota, and so he there.
I don't know about that now.
Well, that's just what he's from, Florida. I mean, his home base is in Florida, but a
lot of that water is ice cold. These fish can't take anything. Once it drops down to 50 degrees, these fish start to suffer.
Yeah. So
and if it gets any lower than that, a lot of them pass away, and we got to wait for the school to regroup, and they'll start to regroup again, and they come back. They're starting to be native.
Yeah.
But it's just like a lot of the fishing industry, things change. Like we were discussing, different lures, different techniques, different lines. It's fishing, and it's an awesome, awesome thing to become is a fishing person.
Yeah.
I mean, when I want to go do something, I get in the boat and go.
Yeah.
And even if I'm having a bad day, I'm having a great day because I'm out in the Everglades, the wild. I'm driving a boat. I'm going somewhere. I'm doing something, of something you really wish to do.
Exactly.
And my advice to a lot of young men, if you want to be in this business and fish, you don't have time for a lot of friends. You don't have a lot of time for events. Because if you're trying to get somewhere in this business, you got to stay dedicated to it. And that means you're going to lose a little friends, maybe a few girlfriends in life. But that's fishing. That's the business.
So, but I do want to tell everybody, go check out the Traveling Fisherman. He does lives every day, or tries to do them at least every day. But it is a great live. Make sure you go check him out on all social media platforms. And so, but I do have a question. Or Abby, do you have a question for him?
Yeah, gator surfing. What is gator surfing?
That's crazy you'd ask that. Well, the Indians started a long time ago because I saw them doing it one day. And then another fellow named Manny was going out there. You dive down, you swim down and find a big gator on the bottom that's laying in the mud. So you slide up behind him and you grab him by the right back of the shoulder and you hang on for the ride. And that's where I learned that these guys called it gator surfing. I mean, it's a little test. I've swam with the alligators and played showing off to people, and you really got to know what you're doing. So I stopped doing it when I started getting a little older. It's out of my league.
Well, Pappy wants to show him how it's done. He wants to learn. He needs a new activity.
With a guy named Paul Bernard, that's the head guy for the Gator Boy shows.
Oh, yeah.
And he's out of Everglades Holiday Park right there on Griffin and 27, where JP and a lot of the other guides go out of. And you got plenty of gators around you. I had a gentleman named Jose Carbonhall who called me yesterday. He had 2 gators up to the boat with their mouths open trying to get their fish off the lines because the people feed them. Never feed a wild gator.
You ain't got to worry about that.
Because they'll follow you.
Yeah. They will follow me.
Hey, John. I'll tell you this story real quick. Old Pappy and I, we were out this past spring, and we seen a good cottonmouth. I mean, when I say it's good, it was probably 4 foot.
Nah, it's more like an anaconda style.
It was 4 foot.
Yeah,
All right.
you want to leave them alone.
Yeah.
It was 30 yards away from us on the road that it had no chance. And he totally missed this bank that I was catching fish on. I told him, we're going to catch fish. I'm ready to I want to get to this little area because we're going to catch fish. He was on the trolling motor. And the next thing I know, I was tying or putting a new bait on. And next thing I know, like, we totally missed this whole pocket because he's seen this. And I'm like, where are we going? And he's like, there's a snake. A 4 foot cottonmouth that was 30 yards away from us at the closest, John. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think he's going to do if he goes to the Everglades and sees one of these little pythons that's down there?
Well, it's going to scare you. The thing that I learned about cottonmouths from wading in the water, you can ask other anglers that's ever done it. Roland will tell you, and all the other guys that's ever done this, Jerry and them, and JP and a lot of the other gentlemen. That's the only snake I've ever experienced that will chase you down.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You can throw him away. He turns around and tries to come back.
Yeah.
And I've had him get in my boat, climb up behind the driver's seat, and get underneath your life jacket in the winter.
Yeah.
And it's a risky thing. Look back on your motor, and you see a snake hanging off your wires back there, and you're like, oh, boy, did he just get on board? Now you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next. Where did he go?
Yeah.
So I always advise people to be very, very careful when you get big stumps and piles of grass and weeds and the snakes are moving. You better look in that pile before you do it. I mean, for instance, over following the lily pads the way we fish tournaments here, and you got a fish in a pad, and he's bowling through it. You got to lay down on your belly like my partner does, and he lays down and starts slinging lily pads, pulling lily pads, following that line, just following it, just slinging pads everywhere. You're chasing it down. And there's been a few times doing that myself where I've grabbed pads and slung them out and looked to my right, and there's a water moccasin 2 feet to the side of me.
Shoo.
And I'm staying on the trolling motor following that fish. But you got to take it, it could be an alligator. You got to be careful what you're doing. But the old logic, once you got a big fish on and your mind goes, you're chasing the dream. You're not looking for anything else. Mm-mm. But it's an art form. When you're fishing the Florida Everglades down here and you're in these big tournaments and you got this moving water and you got pads and grass and different things like that, it's a challenge. And when you get in the back of the backcountry, it gets shallow water back there. You can be tooling along and end up on a mud hump and the boat will stop.
Yeah.
But it's an exciting place, and I'm very proud that I've been living here all these years fishing. And a lot of the men coming down here have told me that's the best thing they ever did is come down here because now they know what it's like to fish the way we fish.
Yeah.
And they get hooked. They live here. I mean, we went from having 10 guides to now having 58 registered guides.
Yeah, that's what's going to be one of my questions I was going to ask you. Like, how many guides, when you started guiding, were around to now?
Well, out of Holiday Park and Sawgrass, there was about 6 of them in my time.
Yeah.
And then when they got older, I got invited to start helping them and take over some of their stuff, and they retired due to age and physical ailments. I mean, that's what happens to you. And I've had so much stuff cut off my body, a big cancer stuff, that operations and stuff, because the sun is very hot down here, and it's a different type of climate in the state of Florida down south. Wherever you come from, you can expect and realize when you come here, it's different.
Yeah.
It's not like anything you've ever been in. But I've had men collapse on boats, heat stroke, because they think they know what they're doing and are not paying attention to themselves.
Yeah.
And they're used to fishing Arizona, different places where it's hot and different that for doing their things. But once they get down here,
it is different.
Used to it.
It is different. It smacks you right in the face, for sure. We got a guy that you may know, Dennis Crenshaw, says, "What's up, my brothers?" So, what's up, Dennis?
Lake Placid Charter and Guide Service,
Lake Placid.
Well, I got to give that guy credit.
He can catch some crappie.
He is the crappie king.
Yeah.
I will give him credit. He's a good man. He started marketing himself. He's growing bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And
he's
like
done very
really
well.
good guides, the good guides advance.
Yeah.
And that's what works. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money.
Yeah.
This guide business is not cheap for the owner of the guide business.
Yeah. Now, when you were guiding, how were you able to? I mean, because I've gone back and looked at some of your pictures. You sent me some of your pictures and stuff back when you had long hair and.
Not supposed to tell those secrets.
Yeah, but what is it about big bass? Like you've been blessed to be able to put as many double digits in the boat that you have put in the boat. And what is it about going and catching double digit bass?
Well, like I said, as a kid growing up, thank God for Roland Martin and them guys, and some of the men that I've happened to know and fish around here, of telling the secrets of following what Mother Nature gives you in the areas where the fish need to feed. In other words, is the minnows in the grass? Is there shrimp grass in there? Are they chasing crawdads? And it's a phenomenal thing to hear these men explain. You have to learn to read the water.
Yeah.
And I used to say, what does that mean, read the water? Well, you read the swamp grass, you read the pencil weeds, you read the shrimp grass, you read the coontail. You look at the bait fish that's inside there between the minnows, the tadpoles, the frogs that are moving in the swamp. What are they eating? And anytime you catch a largemouth that's got yellow gills and yellow face and yellow plates, he's eating crawdads.
Yeah.
And you can go to that. You'll find out that's what they're eating. And they'll start to shift on their diets.
Yeah.
Eating shrimp, crawdads, and all of a sudden it goes away, and you'll start finding them getting a little darker in the face and this and that. And you'll find out they're eating bluegills or pumpkin seeds.
Well, see, and that's like with us. We if we catch a large, let's just say a largemouth, for instance, and if it's dark, we know that it's been a shallow fish. But if we catch one that is light, I mean, it's almost white, then we know that it has been a deep water bass for a while.
Yep.
So, but I just didn't know how you were able to keep on the big fish. I mean, because
the consistency.
Yeah, just being consistent on that.
I can tell you that for a fact. Growing up down here, we were very, very gifted kids to be able to fish around our neighborhoods. Where I grew up in Opelika, Carroll City, Miami Lakes area was full of big lakes.
Yeah.
Big, beautiful canals. And, you use a lot of live fish. And, at one time, I hate to tell the story about it because I might get yelled at, but I used to use turtles, live turtles.
Really?
And, I'd drill a hole in the back of the shell, hook a hook clip to it with a 4-0 hook on it, and rubber band the hook to the turtle and send him down deep. And you feel this thump. Where's the turtle going to do? He goes back in his shell.
Yeah.
So he's not going to die.
Yeah.
He stays with the hook, and you hook the bass and you pull him in. There was a lot of big fish caught on that until my mother caught me. And she said I wasn't allowed to buy any more turtles. But that was stuff that you learn to use.
Yeah.
And learning, like Doug Harris and I one year when we were young boys, we caught a whole bunch of big old fish one day, and we cut the bellies open in the big 10-pounders, and what fell out was full-size crows, grackles.
Really?
And the next fish I cut up at Lake Okeechobee had a coot in its belly.
Now, I could see that. I could see that.
There was one time, many times off and on, I've had it happen to me 3 times, but JP and I were fishing at night one night, and I reached down and picked up an 8-9-pounder, and I picked it up, and I said, yeah, what a fish. Well, I felt something climb up my arm.
Mm.
I turned the light on it, and I had a darn water moccasin laying on my arm, coming out of the fish's mouth. So from that on, I started, 2 or 3 times of that on your boat. You start learning. Don't pick these fish up until you get a good visual, because you never know. These are eating machines down here. And anywhere as a bass, let's just put it this way. If a largemouth bass was 8 feet long, there would be no anglers fishing on a boat. It'd just take you off of it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got to look at that picture. They're just big machines, and they love to eat. When they want something, they go for it, even if they're not hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, I've caught bass that's had a worm in its belly, and he catches another worm. He's got a hook in his mouth already, but now he's got your worm, and he's running with it. I mean, it figures out that they're gluttons for punishment.
Yeah. But I mean, that's how they're bred, though, is to
genetics.
Eat. And the thing is, and people think that, well, bass only eat when they're hungry. And in wintertime, my favorite thing to do in wintertime is throw a DT10 and people are like, well, you got to slow crank that sucker. I burn that sucker back, John, and catch it. But the thing is you put that in front of their face, and for instance, like during the wintertime when the water's cold, you can put that crankbait, just burn it and pause it, burn it, pause it. And you are going to flip that switch for that bass to decide, all right, I'm going to eat it. You're making them eat. And it's just because it's just that natural reaction to, in their mind, they want to get rid of it. So the quickest way for them to get rid of it is eat it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the way to do. But see, I've had opportunities to watch these fish sometimes eat a shiner right in front of our face and spit it out.
Yeah.
Not eat it, but he'll kill it.
Yeah.
He'll eat it, maul it around, spit it out again. Pick it up, eat, spit it out. Pick it up, spit it out, and then swim away.
Yeah.
Why didn't he eat it? I don't know. I mean, we've had that with our own, live lures and baits. And God forbid how I know how fish can take a Sarah spook and have it down their gut and spit a Sarah spook out 2 feet from the net. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, but you try to tie that knot on that thing, and it gets you with all 9 hooks.
You're darn right. Don't get near it.
Yeah.
But the fish is a fish, and it's up to us to try to figure out what they're doing and how to do it. And the men who figure it out the fastest are the ones who are going to win a lot more tournaments.
Yeah.
And the motto is that I learned from the old guys, he who's on the water the most usually wins the most.
Yeah.
So for me, being on the water as a kid growing up with my dad and going out in the airboats and with Manny Fernandez and some of the dolphin people, we used to go out to big back hotel motels and Browns Farm and do these airboat runs and get out in these flats and catch monsters back in the old days. You could be tooling along and say, ooh, there's a 10-pounder right there. Tool, there's another one. JP and I fished a tournament years ago where it was a 2-fish big limit tournament. And we came back in with 2 fish over 9 pounds. And the fish that I had on beds were all between 8 and 10 pounds in front of us, but we couldn't catch anymore. But we did for fun.
Yeah.
But it's a strange thing when you can see fish swimming sometimes in front of you. And some days you can throw a worm in front of them, they'll scoop it, eat it as they swim. Because they're migrating somewhere on the move. We see that a lot down here in the Florida Everglades.
Right.
And other times you can throw a worm on top of him in front of his face, swim it, and he'll turn his head to the right and swim right by it. Throw it out again, swim right to him, turn his head, swim right by it. They just won't eat. So that's the fish you don't want to follow after 5 or 6 tries. You'll learn not to follow him anymore. Get loose and find the other fish that are going to bite because you're going to die on that spot. But, there's so many great fisheries in the United States. And
Bass just put out their top 25 list here.
Yeah, they did. I saw it, and they never really mentioned the Everglades very much down here as like they used to. But, at one point with Everglades Holiday Park for many years, if you didn't come to the scale between 39 pounds to 34 pounds, you weren't even going to finish in the top 15.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You didn't get no money. And that's what it used to be here like that. I mean, there's so many of us that's caught 35-pound fish down here and up, and you walk away with it. And so there's times I've walked up with 34 pounds thinking, heck, we got this one. And another guy comes in with 38 pounds.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'll be darned, I lost. But hey, you got to take your black eyes and fall down every now and then too. But never get discouraged of being competitive the next week.
Yeah.
You always show back up and see what you can do again because it's competition.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps a lot of men fishing. And I'm pretty pretty glad to see a lot of the girls getting into it and starting to fish the College World Series. Like Hillary Martin, she's out there, and I've seen a lot of other women out there fishing today. And we just had your friend Jennifer come down, who seems to be a very good fishing lady.
Yeah, she's good. And then, even last week we had Stephanie Hamfield. She's a hammer as well. There's a lot of women out there right now. And we were talking last week and I was telling them, I was like, I think it's just a matter of time before we're going to see a female on either the Bass Pro Tours or on the Elites. It's coming. It's just a matter of when. And so,
who I'm looking at right now that I've been paying attention to because of the family is Roland Martin's granddaughter, Scott Martin's daughter.
Yeah, Hillary. Yeah.
That young lady can fish, and she's just like Grandpa and Dad.
Yeah.
She's really bright, and I've watched her. I've been watching the family and her grooming. I think that's the girl that's going to compete against the boys when she gets there and get into the pro-ams with these kids. And I think she's going to be one that's going to be a contender.
Yeah, she's going into her junior year at Alabama. And so I'd say within 2 years, she's going to be fishing them opens. If she's not already, she may already be.
Well, it's what I had learned from a lot of these men is like from Roland with his Judy.
Yeah.
Mary Ann and Chris Houston used to fish the BASS Bass and Gals.
Yeah.
And according to Jimmy and Roland, them two ladies were winners before they ever were winners.
Yeah.
And they learned from their wives of some of the mistakes that they didn't do. They learned.
Yeah.
And I was applauding that when I read in one of Roland Martin's books about that, and that how she was a really good fishing woman. And then meeting Jimmy Houston and Chris and them admitting the fact that she can outfish me. And Tom Mann, the old guy that used to be on tournaments, not Tom Mann, the worm owner.
Yeah.
But Tom Mann told me one day, heck, his wife's got a 12-pounder and he's never caught one.
Yeah.
It's just like what Tom Jackson Band, the country and western artist. His wife has already caught a 15-4. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
That's part of dreaming that you're going to be the one to catch one of those fish. And it's a lifetime dream. But you got to fish areas. Look at Mexico, the large fish they're catching there now. In Texas and different parts of California. These largemouth bass that's been transplanted are growing. And I'm waiting for somebody to catch a 26-pounder one day.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen somewhere, somehow. I wish it would happen for one of my friends. I'd like to see it, especially down here. I'd love to see an Everglades bass up to 13, 14 pounds again being caught in one of our tournaments.
Yeah.
But, the exciting thing about it is as old as I've gotten and being allowed to watch some of these kids and seeing them come into the weigh-ins, these guys are advancing with these electronics, as we said, and they're getting better and better and better with it. And these guys are getting better and better fishermen. And pretty soon, there's going to be 14, 15, 16-year-olds that are beating you up. Look, you got Jake Stark, who's starting to win a lot of tournaments, and he's a big hammer himself all these years. And with JP and myself, we've grown together watching these guys, and we know that they're competition.
Yeah.
And the hardest play is to watch these kids flipping away like mad. And I can't flip anymore, no more than 2 or 3 hours. Because the arms are giving out. You can't do it anymore. You're getting older, you're getting beat up, and it's you just have to move over.
So what's the average weight now? Because you had said that they were bigger fish whenever you were fishing and weighing in. So what's the average weight now at a tournament? Is it dropped significantly?
Well, Holiday Park has still been able to produce up to I think we weighed a 30-pound limit this year, and a couple of 28s and 27s, and this and that. But there's still some weights being pulled in. Look at Lake Okeechobee last year; they had 14 boats that weighed over 35 pounds.
Yeah.
You weren't going to. This is phenomenal stuff, and I credit the catch and release program. If we weren't catching and releasing these fish, you would be depleting all the breeding fish that have the gene pool. And I'm proud of the Florida State University And Florida gators, they come down here with research teams. They're studying the water, the mud, the minnows, and whatever they can see. And they're genetically enhancing these largemouth bass for testings. And I would say pretty soon you're going to see crossbred bass that are going to, hopefully, maybe if time gives it, you'll be 30-pounders out there somewhere. But you never know. It's just a long shot dream. And we have a place down here that's called Lake Mangonia. That's in West Palm Beach. And the sign says right at the ramp, there's no engine. You can't take any gasoline engines in it.
Yeah.
But the sign says, from Florida Gators, it'll tell you, these are experimental bass called Lake Mangonia bass. It's got a largemouth body, but a small mouth on the fish. And I thought that was kind of ironic when I started seeing these fish and catching them with Doug Harris and I years ago in that place. I don't know what the program's done anymore, but I've had other men tell me, you know, John, I caught a bass today and the mouth was pretty small. It wasn't a largemouth, but it was a bass body.
So it has the largemouth like coloring. It doesn't have a smallmouth coloring on it.
Nope, it's got a largemouth coloring on it. And Doug and I used to go up there all the time in our canoes and just wear them out.
Interesting.
And I mean, they were fighters too. They were good fighters. And I haven't been up there in a long time, and I don't know how well it's still doing anymore because I just, don't do it anymore. But there's still places out there that's got something out. You got to remember, largemouth bass and these fish don't live any more than about 16 years to 15 years in the wild.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them only live to 12 years, and a lot of fellas will tell you they see fish that are got holes in them or they're damaged, the tails are rotting off.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He's old, and it's time for him to go feed the crabs and the shrimp and the snails and whatever else is down there. He's going to go down and lay on the bottom, and he's going to die. They just don't. They don't have the time limits that a lot of people think they have. But it's pretty short considering. But these fish are strong.
Yeah.
They're getting stronger. They're evolving. They're evolving with time. Well, and I can see some of that happening, like with Lake Okeechobee. Look at the way the lake is, with some of the weeds and things that they got going on there. But the lake is still producing. The city is still producing all these things with the running water. So, the smartest guys in the water are the ones who work it. They practice it. They live it. Well, and it's hard to beat those men.
Not to kind of get off, but I do want to hit something that is, that is dear to me. And I have a bunch of family that's been in the military. We actually have Pappy, that he served this country.
Yes, sir.
And you are part of something that is phenomenal down there in Florida. We're actually going to try to get something going on with Neil coming up here. Can you talk about fishing with America's Finest?
Yes, sir. We sure can. Neil sat down about 17, 18 years ago and discussed it, what he had ideas of doing, and we sat together, and here it is today, 17, 18 years later.
Yeah.
He's done a tremendous job, and with a lot of the guys that's helped him out, with a lot of fishermen in town here, which I give credit to, these were friends that came to help Neil with the program, and over these years, it's grown bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
It's gotten big enough that, the gentleman had to donate 2 big pontoon boats for some of the damaged veterans that come on.
Yeah.
He's got his boat, his son's boat. He's got all of us friends out there that'll guide some of these men. And I applaud the organization called Fishing with America's Finest. And it's just a really good thing that's happened.
Yeah.
I've watched some of the veterans that I've been around that when I've met them before, they didn't want to talk to you. They wouldn't get near you. They wouldn't take a backpack off. And through the fishing industry and through the fishing, they seem to start to communicate with Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And so it turned out to be a pretty good tool.
Well, see, and that's one thing that I was wanting to ask you is, like, we're fortunate enough to be out on the water as much as what we are. And, I mean, it does us, that water therapy does wonders for us. And which and Pappy can understand a whole lot better than what a lot of us can with being overseas and fighting for our country. That being out on that water, what and John, and I know that you've taken many of the guys out. What have you seen that, like, have you been able to see just as they're fishing, like that stress and just that what's going on in their mind, been able to kind of clear out with being out on the water?
Yes, sir. Sure have. I've watched some of these men get into start like they can't do it. Oh, I can't do this, Captain. I just can't do this. Yes, you can. Let me help you. And after you get their concentration on trying to figure it out, once they catch on to it, sometimes you've created monsters. And these guys will start coming out, and it's pretty cool to watch some of these guys come out of their shell.
Well, I tell you what you're doing. You're taking them out of fight mode, and you're putting them in a comfortable place, a safe haven, and that's what happens. And that's the same way with me when I go hunting, or fishing or whatever. I just get in that spot, and I'm no longer. I'm just enjoying what's going on. I'm in my safe place, I guess you could say.
Yes, sir. You're enjoying life.
Yeah.
Well, hey, John, I would say that too if he's in my boat and I'm over there spanking him. So I'd say the same
thing.
Which don't ever happen.
Just remember this, Pappy. When he gets to catching too many fish, just walk up and chuck him off the boat.
Oh, he knows I will.
Right. Okay, that way they don't rub it in,
Yeah.
But I have really witnessed some of these guys that's been on the boats, and I've seen them communicate with each other, help each other. Well, this is what I did to catch that fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now you got a guy that wasn't really into fish that's learning how to fish. All of a sudden, he's teaching another veteran how to fish.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. It's stepping stones. I say it's one step at a time.
Yeah. Was that the idea of Fishing with America's Finest from the beginning 17 years ago? Was that the idea of it?
Yes, sir. It was. I think it was God's work, because Neil walked up to me and we were sitting there talking, and he says, "John, I got an idea. I'd like to do something." And I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" He said, "I'd like to give back." And I said, "What do you want to give back to?" He said, "I'd like to give back to the veterans."
Yeah.
He goes, "How can we do that?" I said, you can do it anytime you want to, but it's going to take time and effort.
Yeah.
And he stayed head forward on it. He stayed headstrong. And, we lose a few and you gain a few. But the biggest thing that I heard from them personally was I had a great day.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I'm glad you had a great day." And he says, "The best thing about it was I wasn't in the VA talking to a doctor asking me where I'm at.
Yep.
What did you do today? What are you thinking about? What do you remember?"
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they should be doing that to these men all the time.
Nah.
I think they should tell them, look, it's time to forget it. It's time to move on. Do the best you can with it. And when you got troubles, then you need the doctors. Go back. But sometimes I think these guys they really do pretty good once they start figuring out something else to do. And my father was a veteran, and a lot of other men. My father buried himself in construction.
Right.
And race cars back then. And that was his out, and coaching baseball and kids and football. And, I watched him. That was his out. And there was other times he'd talk about Korea and the different things,
Yeah.
But it's amazing when you grow up in a somewhat military families and you live with what they go through. And sometimes you see them talking to themselves and you don't know why. But you figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's a great organization. There's other organizations out there around the country that you got to check up on. Make sure they're legitimate. Don't be getting out there donating when they're not a legitimate cause, because there's a lot out there, And Fishing with America's Finest is licensed, bonded, insured, the whole 9 yards for the veterans coverage. And it's an awesome program. And thanks to Johnny Morris and Bass Pro Shop and other people that's been on board, that's helped out the program with tackle, fishing rods, fishing lures, and other sponsors around the country is more than welcome to call in and help the program out with the veterans.
Yeah.
I mean, every little bit counts, from $1 to whatever they can give, or any tackle or any bags of worms. And, like Bruiser gives stuff out. Gambler, Val.
Yeah.
A guy named Frank Masiello from some kind of bait company. He's a little guy out of Georgia.
Yeah.
And he's growing. He's growing.
And Luz, I know Luz
awesome
does
product.
some stuff, and what Fitzgerald.
Yeah, they've donated plenty of stuff. It's amazing to see the men's hearts open up and give out things to people. And, I can say I'm very lucky on my end, because I don't expect things, but I still get stuff from Missile.
Yeah.
From some kind of, once in a while I get things from friends that are with Gambler and, and Culprit and Zoom. And I'm very blessed that some of the stuff comes to me. And, JP gets things, and all these other men down here, they get some things given to them too. A lot of guys are sponsored here from Gambler Bait and Tackle, Gambler Company. And some of the guys are sponsored with Bruiser. Now, I have to thank Steve Dials for sending me compression leg socks.
Yeah, those are very neat.
Tungsten lures that he has for his company.
That flat out tungsten is amazing.
Flat out tungsten. Now, he sent me these leggings. For me, it has advertising on. I feel like a billboard, but they're cool. They work. And he was nice enough to say, John, I'm going to give you something that I haven't given anybody else. And he gave me 2 armbands that are blue that says flat out tungsten on the armbands.
Yeah.
And I was very happy. He's given some baits out to us and free baits. Frank sponsors things from some kind of bait company from Georgia, and all these other guys. Now you got the DeLong guy back in business, and all these other guys. And it's cool to keep seeing the industry rebirth itself, I call it.
Yeah.
Like you realized on the floor at the Icast. This year I saw a lot of new dealers.
Yeah.
New booths, new ideas. And the guy that came out with the triple big shiner pod that's got 2 big swim baits on them, 3 of them, put together. Now I'm waiting to see how that's going to do.
I think it's going to do killer, to be honest with you.
I mean, if he can make them look shiners down here and throw them in Lake Okeechobee or Kissimmee and all these big packs of big fish, it's going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
They're going to eat that thing.
Well, I was able to see it at Icast at the fish tank.
I didn't get to see it. I just seen it at the table.
And the movement on it, because they all don't move. They kind of move away from each other.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it was, I'm over here thinking like spawning time, or throwing around some grass, or even around some docks. If you could skip that thing up underneath the dock, there ain't no telling. You probably come out. I didn't get close enough to see if all 3 have hooks on it, but if all 3 have hooks on it, you could come.
They do, from what I think I remember. I can't remember.
Yeah.
When you get old, certain times your brain ain't there anymore. I call it old timer's disease. I don't know what it is. But it really stinks to start forgetting things when you get older. But I saw it. I looked at it. I felt it. It's got good weight to it, so you can really throw it a long ways. If you use a heavy rod and really whip it. But I wouldn't be using anything under heavy braided line for this stuff, or heavy mono, because
it's 50 pounds. That's what I'd have. 50 to 65 pounds.
Oh, that's what I thought too. But then another guy says, "Well, I think I'll throw a 100-pound test on that in these deep waters." I thought, maybe he's got a point. I don't know.
But so we've been on. It's pushing 8 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So after the troubles we have, I'm sorry we didn't get video.
Well, that was what I was about to say again, guys. We're sorry that we had technical issues. We're gonna get it figured out, and we'll be ready for next week. Next week we're changing it up a little bit, guys. I know old Pappy and I, when we're in the truck, just talking about who we kind of want to come on the podcast. When actually Pappy brought it up, he says we need to get a marine biologist on here. And so next week we are going to have a marine biologist come on. He's affiliated with the MLF. He's been on Alex Rudd fishing podcasts, Serious Angler podcast. He's been on quite a few podcasts, so we're wanting to talk to him about it. So next week we're going to have Stephen Barden with us next week. It is going to be phenomenal, guys. So we get a different aspect because I know we have a lot of questions that we want to ask, just for the why are they doing what's the purpose of TVA doing what they're doing on our rivers and even down in Florida. Why are they going and spraying all this grass and stuff on Okeechobee and everywhere? What's the purpose of it? Because us as fishermen, all we see is they're spraying grass, they're eliminating places for bait fish to feel comfortable, and eliminating place when bait fish goes up in it. You're gonna have the brim, then you're gonna have bass, and so when you're eliminating vegetation, you're eliminating a lot of things for your lake. So we're going to ask him some questions, and we're excited about it. John, we cannot thank you enough for coming on. Again, I'm sorry that we couldn't get the video down, but I was glad that we were able to get at least get the audio.
We got through it. But I wanted to say my partner JP apologized because he had a double trip today and he didn't get off the water till 5 o'clock and caught traffic.
Yeah, so it happens.
TheBassWhisperer.com. If you ever want to get in touch with another good guide down here, and there's a bunch of good guides down here, but that's my partner. And I'd like to say thank you, Shaw Grigsby, for all the years, and enjoy your retirement with your family.
Yeah.
And guys like him and Hank Parker and all those guys with Jimmy Houston and Roland Martin and all those men, thank you very much for who you are and helping us learn what we've learned. Us old guys learn with you. If it wasn't for them, a lot of us would not be in this business.
You got that right.
So thank you guys. It's been fun.
Well, we got one more question that we always have to ask. Pappy, take it away, brother.
John, if you had one person to fish with, past or present, who would it be and why?
Well, that seems to be a pretty easy one for me. My brother, Alan Grant Pate.
Yeah.
He died at 13 years old from a drunk driver.
Oh, wow.
He was my sidekick.
Yeah.
And he died in my arms. So, yeah, that's who I would like to fish with.
Yeah.
I hate to say it to the pros. I have a lot of guys.
Yeah.
But being my little brother, I have to go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I could just say to everybody, may God bless all of you on your journeys in life. Keep your family close and be safe.
Yep. So, guys.
Thank you guys for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Y'all guys, thank you again for coming on. We will see you next week, next Tuesday at 6 p.m. And make sure you like and share all this and get it out because we're wanting to keep on growing Deck Talk Podcast.
Yeah, we've got to expand.
And so we've got some cool things that's coming up that we're going to be doing video-wise that we're going to get out on the water and be doing. So look forward to that. Look forward. We're going to be getting some Spike It stuff. Will from Spike It is sending us a package deal. And so we're going to show you what that sonic coat will do. We'll have video with the forward-facing sonar. And then they've got that Elastec spray to where most dyes, you cannot dye any kind of Elastec. So any Z-Man you cannot put dye on until now that they have a spray that you can put on your Elastec baits. It's a lot of things. We're going to do a boxing. We'll get Pappy to come back over here and we'll do an unboxing and then we will do a video with us out on the water with the forward-facing sonar to especially see that sonic coat. So, guys, thank you again for coming.
Don't forget, we also got some hunting content coming up.
Oh yeah,
hunting season's coming up.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of new that we've been talking about introducing slowly. But anyways, we still casting dreams and ripping lips, baby.
That's it, guys. And the thing is, we real quick, that saying that Pappy just said, casting dreams and ripping lips. Pappy's been saying that to me for the past year and a half, and we are making a shirt that is going to have that is going to be part of our merch. So you're going to be able to get that shirt.
It's coming. It's coming soon. We done got the logo.
Yeah.
Colin, he fixed us up, and it's coming.
It's coming. So, guys, thank you again. Hope you have a blessed day.
Guys.
And
thank you very much for your time.
We will see you next week, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.